Hi, this is Natalie with the Fifth Journey. We're going to be making salt bars today, and salt bars use a large portion of sea salt. Make sure you're using sea salt, not dead sea salt, not Epsom salt, anything like that, because they will not turn out. I actually have a failed soap video of a sea salt batch of soap using dead sea salt, and you'll see what happens. Don't use it, it doesn't work. So we're going to go ahead and make a sea salt soap today, and I have my oils ready to go. The majority of this is coconut oil. Coconut oil is really the only oil that will still lather with a high salt content. And then over here I have my lye water with some sea clay in it, and I'm using a little bit more sea clay than usual to give it a little bit more color. So I'll stir that in here in just a second to mix a little bit more, and we'll go ahead and get started. So I have everything to about the same temperature. I'm soaping at about 100 degrees today. Mix that in just a hair. Have all my surfaces covered like always. All put in there. All that clay. Just a little bit right there. There we go. And I'm going to go to about a medium trace today. Got a little bit of the soap mixture on the wall back here. So what was in that squirt bottle was vinegar. Help neutralize that lye. There we go. Now this did take a little bit longer to come to trace how I wanted it than usual. Because sometimes depending on the oils it may take longer than normal. I'm going to go ahead and add the fragrance oils in. There we go. I'm going to be using a peppermint second distilled, which makes it a little bit stronger. These are little samplers that I got. Get them close. It smells good. The peppermint second has a sharper, more candy cane scent, where the peppermint first distilled has a little bit lighter. There we go, that's where I want to be. A little bit lighter and sweeter fragrance. Hand stir that in, take that off of there. Now the batch of soap I made last week came to trace really fast. I mean, it took just a few minutes, and this one took a very long time. So it really just depends on what oils you're using and what temperature you're soaping at. Okay. Fragrance is incorporated in there very well. I'll go ahead and get my trays ready with my molds. Set those next to me. Because once you add in the salt, it will thicken up pretty quickly. I'm just going to move this over here. Alright, are we ready? Now, for those of you that want to watch the video with the Dead Sea salts, when I did this step with the Dead Sea salts, I poured the salt in and it immediately separated. All the salt went to the bottom, and like the soap separated, it made this the liquidy stuff at the top. It happened immediately. I tried to salvage it, but it did not work. Here we go. So I've got 28 ounces of oils, and I'm doing about 18 ounces of salt here. So I already see a difference. Stir that in really well, incorporate that in really good. Oh, that peppermint smells really nice. All right, starting to thicken up nicely, and there's no separation. So like I said before, all that Dead Sea salt just went to the bottom. I could see the layer on the bottom. It was a mess. Okay, set that aside, get my trays. Now when you're doing this, salt bars do not like to be cut. So you'll want to pour them into individual molds. And I have silicone molds here that I'm going to be pouring them into. And actually I'm going to grab a spoon right there. And these will actually harden up in a couple hours, but still, with that lye, you don't want to handle them for a day or so. I'm actually going to take a little bit out of some of these. Got a little bit full. Set this one aside. Just need the one, this one. So I'll probably have one more. Gosh, got a whole nother mold out for one more. Don't want to waste any. And put the last little bit in. I take my glove off. Now, with the Dead Sea salt, you can use it as a garnish, so to speak, so to speak, but you do not want to use it in the actual bar. So I'm just going to sprinkle some right in the middle on top. Just as a little pretty. Okay, go and take this one over and grab my other one. These, yeah, they're already starting to set up. Scoot that up a little bit. There we go. Just a little bit right in the middle. So you can see on that one that I did a minute ago, it was still pretty liquid, and this one's setting up pretty quickly. Now if you take your gloves off, like what I'm doing, remember that you don't want to touch the soap. So if you spill something, don't just clean it up with your fingers. You need to get those gloves back on. And there we have it. We are done. I will come back and to unmold these tomorrow, and then we will check on them again in several weeks to see how they're coming along. It has been 24 hours, and we're going to go ahead and unmold the sea salt soap bars. So let's take a look real quick. We have the pretty dead sea salt on the top as decoration, and we'll go ahead. They set up very nicely. We're going to go ahead and unmold them. We've got the little tester right here, so that came out really nice. You can see the little bits of salt set up very nicely, and they're popping right out. Look at that. So when we put the clay in, it was kind of a, I don't know, a brownish greenish color, but it's really toned down, made a really pretty creamy color, and they smell really good. Doesn't want to come out very well. There we go. Okay, and I'll trim the edges on these just a little bit, and then we'll put them on the curing racks for about 4 or 5 weeks, and we'll test them out and see how they turn out. Hey, it's been 6 weeks, and we are back with the sea salt bars. Sorry, I'm holding my camera, so there might be some jiggling. And they came in at about 4 ounces. They are silky, silky smooth, so they're very, very soft. And I did sample them. My husband sampled them too. It does have a very low sudsing. So the bubbles, it has very low bubbles, very small bubbles. And that is because of sea salt. And coconut oil does generally have large bubbles, but with the sea salt it really takes that down. And then also coconut is very cleansing, so this gave us a very, very squeaky clean feeling. So if you're wanting something, I would say this would be good for a hand soap. We did use it in the shower and it was fine, it just wasn't super, super bubbly. But this was, I mean, it's very, very smooth, very, very silky. It smells wonderful. Doesn't smell super strong like peppermint, but it was peppermint, and it's really, turned out nice. I'm very pleased with how it turned out. And you've got the Dead Sea salt on top, and did not fail like that one batch that I did. So here we go. We've got the soothing, cooling salt bars made with the sea salt and peppermint essential oil.